is up, Hear Me Out Sports Podcast World. We are here talking about the most crucial position, quarterback. The threshold for quarterbacks this time, as you can see, is 19 points. If we think they can get above 19 points, we're going to mark them as a start. Doesn't matter if they get 1,000 points, doesn't matter if they get negative 10 points, it's start or sit. It's black and white. We're going to give you some suggestions as far as those wall sitters over there, where they could flop either way, but we're just going to leave it at that. So we're going to kick it off now with Thursday Night Football. Listen, both of these guys are a start. I think there's no question about it. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game, and Josh Allen's just going to do his thing. Listen, Josh Allen, he is the number one quarterback on these fantasy drafts for a reason. It's because he can scramble, he can pass, he has targets. I mean, what doesn't he have? So we're excited there. Matthew Stafford, there is some concern with the injury to his elbow, I guess. So if you're concerned about that, I really don't think you should be. He's pretty consistent. He plays through pain pretty dang well. Now, is that something you want out of your quarterback? Probably not, but I think that he's going to be fine. He said he's been feeling fine recently, but we'll see how this game treats him. And I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, so although he might be hurt, they're going to need to be passing because they're going to need points. We'll kick it on over now to Sunday football here with New Orleans Saints versus the Atlanta Falcons. And, man, I am just not excited about this one. We're going to bench them both. Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota. Listen, I got no hope. I got no faith. And I honestly, one game this season, I want to see Desmond Ridder start over Marcus Mariota. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I just don't trust them. I don't think they have the same floor or ceiling as a good quarterback should have. So we're going to bench them both. Now going over to Carolina for Browns versus Panthers. Oh my gosh, I am excited for this one. We got Baker Mayfield going at the team that low-key screwed him over publicly. And so, man, I think he has the skill, I think he has the ability, and I think he has some good receivers that you could target and a great running back that you could target. Where, listen, sure, it could just be a swing route. Let me just hit him on a quick little screen over here. But as long as Christian McCaffrey gets in the end zone on that pass, that's counting towards his throwing TDs, and that's points on the board. Jacoby Brissett, yeah, pass on that. Not really going to mess with Jacoby Brissett for at least 3 games probably. And then if he somehow shows that he's worthy of starting, then we'll circle back around to that. But I'm excited for Baker Mayfield. Now let's go over to Soldier Field where we got the Bears playing the 49ers. Justin Fields, man, I think he has skill, but he doesn't have many targets. They've got Montgomery there, they've got Cole Kmet there, and they've got Darnell Mooney. I don't think that's enough for him, especially given the offensive line that he has being one of the worst. I'm just not very excited about this one. So we're going to keep him benched for that reason. Now Trey Lance, on the other hand, I think he's got some targets. I mean, I think he can do something with this shot. He was splitting some time still with Jimmy G last year, so moving on from that, I think he can. He's kind of got a little chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove himself. He wants to show that he is the starting quarterback, and with that, I think we should start him. I think he's got to get above 19 points, and we'll go from there. Now we're going over to Cincinnati with the Steelers versus the Bengals. Joe Burrow. Is there any question if you start him? I mean, come on. They invested so much draft capital and just capital in general into their offensive line that I think they're going to be pretty set. I think that's most of the reason why they lost the Super Bowl is they just didn't have time for him. But now he's got his time. He can just be hanging out back there, I hope, and he's going to be racking up the points. So I'm excited for Joe Burrow. If you got him in your league, I mean, get pumped, man, because he could show out. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, on the other hand, first off, they didn't even know who their starting quarterback was till this week. So, with that being said, I'm not too excited about that. Mitch Trubisky, man, we're going to bench him. Going on now, we got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Detroit Lions. I'm excited about this game as a Lions fan, obviously. Jalen Hurts, I am excited about the Philadelphia Eagles specifically because Jalen Hurts has a lot of proving to do, man. He was kind of rated pretty high in some of these mock drafts and draft rankings that it's gonna be very clear in this first game against the Lions specifically whether he's gonna live up to that hype or whether it's just gonna be another season. Jared Goff, on the other hand, I'm high on Goff, so I'm starting him as well. But the reason being is because he is surrounded by talent. And listen, I've had people bring up like, oh, he was surrounded by talent when he was with the Rams, but you saw what he did. Yeah, he went to a Super Bowl. Like, listen, he's a very average quarterback, but when you could hit receivers like Amon-Ra St. Brown and like Jeremy Reynolds and stuff, but then you can also dump it off to DeAndre Swift. Like, listen, it's a no-brainer on every level of the field. Deep, mid, just right there on the flats, he can hit somebody. You got TJ Hawkinson and stuff. I'm excited about it. And I think that this first game, I mean, Eagles have a good defense. So, listen, he's lower. He's going to be around 19 points. But I want to see what he can do. Now let's go on over to the Colts versus the Texans. I'm going to start Matt Ryan. With his check down game, I think he checks down a lot to running backs. And so he's going to be giving it to arguably the best running back in the league. I mean, it's usually between him or Christian McCaffrey. And as long as they can do something with the ball after they get in their hands, that's all points for Matt Ryan. So let's get excited about that. Now going over to the Houston Texans, I'm going to sit Davis Mills. Listen, there's just not too many exciting things going over with the Texans. So we're going to keep him benched this game. And that's going to take us now to the Patriots versus the Dolphins. Mac Jones. There are lots of Mac Jones believers, and I am not one of them. So we're going to see what he can do in this first game. Miami, they're all right on defense. Nothing special. This has potential to be a high-scoring game, and if it does go that route, then Mac Jones will probably be getting around 19 points as well. So, I mean, if you have him, sure, you could play him. I don't think he's the worst option, but he's definitely not the best option. Miami Dolphins, though, Tua, same thing about Tua as I say about Goff. He's just surrounded by talent, and as long as he can get into their hands, which I think he can, then they can make something happen with it. So now let's go over to the Baltimore Ravens and the New York Jets. We're starting Lamar Jackson. His running upside alone should make you want to start him. His passing, it's good enough. That's all you got to say is it's good enough. But his run game alone should get you excited. New York Jets, listen, tough luck. Zach Wilson, he's out for, I think they said till week 4. We'll keep you updated. So keep tuning back in each week. Joe Flacco, though, great arm, not too mobile, and listen, a little bit scared about his targets. So I'm just going to bench them both in this one. And that will bring us on now to the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Washington Commanders, where I will bench both of them. Trevor Lawrence has potential to break that 19 points, but I'm just not high on him. I want to see some legitimate, point scoring before I decide, yeah, I think he's worth my time. I think he's worth my draft capital, and I think I'm going to put him up there. Carson Wentz, on the other hand, I don't know if he can prove it, but we will see in this game, but we're going to bench them both. Now let's go on over to Tennessee with the Giants versus the Titans. Daniel Jones, some people can hype up about him. I, again, am not one of them. We're sitting him. I am not huge on the Giants. I think they're in that middle ground where they could rebuild, and they probably should rebuild, but they're not really a contender either, so they're kind of right there in the middle, and that's just an equation for a bad team. Going to the other side, though, Tennessee Titans, I said this in my tight end video, but Ryan Tannehill actually is a running threat, and he can score some points. Now, he can also check down. He's got some other targets. I think he's also going to be around that 19 points, so I'm not super high on him because he doesn't have that many. He's got Treylon Burks, and that's kind of about it, but I'm going to still start him. We're going to see how he produces this week. I think that the run is going to draw a lot of the defense, and that's going to leave a lot open for the receivers in this game. Now let's go on over to Arizona. Listen, this is going to be my matchup of the week, we got the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Arizona Cardinals. Both of these guys, I think, are no-brainer starts. Patrick Mahomes consistently getting points, and Andy Reid just backing him up as a coach. I think that his strategy, his game plan, just kind of opens up the field, and Patrick Mahomes can unleash. And Patrick Mahomes also has some different targets there, so we'll kind of be excited to see how they work. And same with Arizona Cardinals. They got Marquise Brown now, Hollywood out there, and we're going to see how he does with Kyler Murray, see how their relationship is building. And it's before Warzone's been released, so Kyler Murray should be good, right? It's not a double XP weekend to my knowledge. Now, I will get on later tonight and probably check that out, but I'm excited to see this matchup. It has potential to be high scoring. I think these two are no-brainers, so start them. If you got them, start them. Las Vegas Raiders now versus the Los Angeles Chargers. I think this could also be an exciting game. We got Justin Herbert, who's just consistent. Like, start him. There's nothing else to be said about there. He's got the receivers who, once you get the ball in their hands, they can just run and go. But he's just a good, solid quarterback to have. Not ever really concerned about injury with him, and not worried about suspension and getting suspended for 11 games like some other quarterback. Not going to say his name. But also on the other hand, you have Derek Carr. Again, some different weapons over there. You got Hunter Renfrow, who kind of had a breakout season last year, so will he do it again? Now, the bigger name there, Devontae Adams. Listen, he is phenomenal as far as a receiver is concerned, and he ate up just about everybody, including my Lions last year. So we're going to see how he works with Derek Carr. He's obviously dropping in talent as far as a quarterback is concerned, but Derek Carr, I mean, as long as he gets it in his hands, it's literally one of the greatest receivers in the season, in the league right now. So get excited about it. Now, that being said, let's go on over to his former quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, with the Green Bay Packers. He's one of those guys who I think he's pretty consistent. I think he had a pretty rough start to last season, if I'm remembering correctly, but I just think you got to start him if you have him. I mean, he's not going to be breaking huge ceilings more times than not, but I think we should start him. It'll be interesting to see how it works this year because his number one returning receiver is actually his running back. So getting the new guys in there, getting them developed, and getting that relationship because, listen, Aaron Rodgers, I think he'll cut guys loose really quick. So if he's not getting production out of some guy, he's not going to give them a lot of chances. He'll find his targets. We'll see who that target turns out to be. And then that could be someone who you want to trade for or look at in these future weeks. Minnesota Vikings, so Kirk Cousins, lots of targets. Excited about it. I don't need to say too much more about that. I think he's not going to be the flashiest quarterback. He might get you in the low 20s, but that's all we need for a start. We'll go on over now to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got Tom Brady. There's been some concern about the offensive line there just because there's been some switch up, there's been some injuries, there's been some retirements, so there has been concern. But with Leonard Fournette as a check down, I mean, who cares, right? He's going to be dumping it over to him and let him do something with the ball. But he also has some decent receivers and Mike Evans and some of these other guys that I'm not too worried about Tom Brady there. Dak Prescott, it depends what Cowboys come. It's either going to be the, hey, we have a chance at playoffs, this is our season, let's go blow it type of Cowboys, or it's going to be a solid Cowboys. I want to see them succeed. He doesn't have too many targets. I mean, he's got CeeDee Lamb and as backup kind of Dalton Schultz at this point, but we'll see if anybody else proves themselves over there enough to get a decent amount of the target share. Now let's jump on over to Monday Night Football with the Denver Broncos versus the Seattle Seahawks. Another grudge match. Now this one is not nearly as intense as Baker Mayfield over there with the Browns, but we got Russell Wilson going to be playing his former team, the Seahawks. I'm going to start him. He can just hit pretty much anybody on that field. He's a proven quarterback. Although I'm not high on him, I mean, he's got the talent. There's no denying that. And so we're going to start him. Geno Smith, on the other hand, listen, Seahawks are just a mess. I'm going to bench just about every single one of their players if I have them on my team. And if I have them on my team, I did something wrong in the first place. And that's all I got to say about that. Now, with that being said, we want you to like, subscribe, check out our other videos, see which quarterbacks, which running backs, which receivers, which tight ends you want to start. And based off that, let's see how we can help you succeed in your league. DM us, like us, follow us, share, subscribe, do all that, and you'll have a chance to win some money this season. We're going to be giving away some cash to some lucky fans. And with that, we're going to check out here at the Hear Me Out headquarters. So, logging off. Have a good one.